Have you ever noticed that the loudest person in the room is rarely the most powerful? In the architecture of the cosmos, the same rule applies. We have been taught that to get what we want, we must hustle. We must scream our desires into the wind, and we must constantly ask. But what if I told you that the very act of asking is a declaration of lack? What if the secret to unfathomable wealth, health, and influence isn't found in the noise of your demands, but in the terrifying, beautiful silence of the void? Welcome to the void of creation. This is not just another lecture on the law of attraction. This is a manual on how to stop begging the universe and start commanding it. When you stop the frantic mental chatter, you close the gap between wanting and having. In the next hour, we will journey through the mechanics of the subconscious mind, the hidden vibration of stillness, and the ancient art of sacred silence. If you are tired of chasing shadows and ready to become the sun around which your desires orbit, listen closely. The silence is not empty. It is full of everything you have ever wanted. The void of creation. How to command the universe through. The world is addicted to noise. From the moment we wake up, our minds are bombarded with digital signals, internal anxieties, and the persistent hum of a society that equates busyness with worth. We are taught that to manifest a better life, we must repeat affirmations until our throats are sore and visualize until our heads ache. But there is a profound paradox at the heart of creation. The harder you chase a shadow, the faster it runs. The silent signal is the frequency where the chasing ends and the arriving begins. To understand the silent signal, we must first understand the nature of the void. In physics, a vacuum is not truly empty. It is a field of infinite potential energy. In spirituality, the void is the womb of the universe. It is the space between your thoughts. Most people spend their entire lives living in their thoughts, unaware that the power to change reality lies in the gaps between them. When you are constantly asking the universe for money, love, or success, you are broadcasting a signal of not having. You are telling the subconscious mind, and by extension, the divine intelligence, that your current reality is insufficient. This creates a friction, a static noise that drowns out your true creative power. Joseph Murphy, the pioneer of subconscious transformation, often spoke of the feeling of the wish fulfilled. But how do you reach that feeling when your external world is screaming the opposite? You do it through the sacred silence. Silence is not the absence of sound, it is the absence of resistance. When you enter a state of deep inner stillness, you stop fighting with the present moment. In that cessation of conflict, you become a 0 point. At 0 point, your vibration is neutral, and the neutral vibration is the most fertile ground for a new command to take root. Think of your subconscious mind as a high-fidelity recording device. If the room is filled with shouting, the recording will be distorted. If the room is silent, the slightest whisper is captured with perfect clarity. This is why the most powerful manifestations often happen when we give up or let go. We have all heard stories of the person who stopped looking for love only to find their soulmate the next week, or the entrepreneur who stopped obsessing over a deal only to have the phone ring with a better offer. This isn't coincidence. It is the result of the silent signal. By letting go of the desperate asking, they remove the static of lack, allowing the universe to hear the underlying frequency of their true worth. To command the universe through silence, you must learn to navigate what I call the internal horizon. This is the boundary where your conscious intellect ends and your subconscious depth begins. The intellect is loud, it calculates, it worries, it plans. The subconscious is silent, it just is. It is the engine room of your reality. It does not argue, it only accepts. If you go to the subconscious with a loud, frantic request, it reflects that frenzy back into your life as chaos. But if you approach the subconscious in the void, in that state of meditative stillness, your intention becomes a command. The silence signal is a vibration of I am. Not I will be, not I want to be, but I am. This state cannot be reached through the intellect. It can only be reached when the intellect falls silent. Imagine a lake. If the surface is whipped by wind and rain, you cannot see the bottom, and the water cannot reflect the stars. But when the wind stops and the water becomes perfectly still, the entire cosmos is reflected on its surface. Your mind is that lake. The noise of your desires is the wind. The sacred silence is the stillness that allows you to reflect and thus become the greatness you seek. In this chapter, we are setting the foundation for the chapters to follow. We are acknowledging that your current method of seeking may actually be the very thing keeping your goals at arm's length. The universe does not respond to what you want. It responds to what you are. And at your core, beneath the layers of social conditioning and egoic chatter, you are an extension of the creative force that birthed the galaxies. That force does not ask, it mandates. As we move forward, I want you to begin practicing the art of the quiet pause. Several times today, stop whatever you are doing. Close your eyes for 60 seconds. Do not pray, do not affirm, do not visualize. Simply observe the silence behind your thoughts. Feel the weight of your body, the flow of your breath, and the vast empty space that surrounds your mind. This is the void. This is the entrance to the command center of your life. You are transitioning from a seeker to a commander. A commander doesn't need to shout to be heard. They speak with an authority that is felt in the bones of the listener. The universe is listening to your silence more than your words. It is time to make that silence sacred. It is time to send a signal that cannot be ignored, a signal of absolute, unshakable peace. By the end of this journey, you will understand that the reason money, health, and joy begin moving towards you when you stop asking is because you have finally stopped pushing them away with the energy of wanting. You have become the void, and the nature of the void is to be filled. Chapter 2: The Subconscious Depths, where silence turns into power. The hook. Imagine you possess a lamp that could summon a genie capable of fulfilling your every command. But there is a catch. You have been speaking to the genie in a language it does not understand. Your shouts, your tears, and your desperate pleas, these are nothing but white noise to the creative forces of the cosmos. The universe does not speak in English, Spanish, or any human tongue. It speaks in the language of vibrational resonance, a language born only in the depths of silence. Today, we go beyond the surface of the mind. We are going to meet the genie within, your subconscious mind. We will learn how to bypass the noisy, analytical ego and deliver a command so clear that the universe has no choice but to respond. When you stop the external chatter and enter the void, you aren't just being quiet. You are activating the most powerful engine in existence. If you have ever felt like your prayers go unanswered or your hard work goes unrewarded, it is because you haven't mastered the art of the silent command. Listen closely. When you stop talking to the world, your power finally begins to speak. Chapter 2: The Subconscious Depths. To command the universe, one must understand the hierarchy of the mind. Most of us spend 95% of our lives operating from the conscious mind, the part of us that plans, worries, judges, and calculates. This is the captain of the ship. However, the captain does not move the ship. The engines do. Your subconscious mind is the engine room. It is a vast, silent reservoir of power that operates below the threshold of your awareness. It controls your heartbeat, your breathing, and more importantly, the magnetic frequency you broadcast to the world. The great tragedy of modern manifestation is that people try to force the subconscious through conscious effort. They repeat affirmations like soldiers on a drill, hoping that the sheer volume of their thoughts will override their reality. But the subconscious mind is not a slave to be beaten into submission. It is a fertile garden that responds to the seeds of feeling. And feelings are most potent when they are not crowded by the noise of the intellect. Joseph Murphy, the legendary author of The Power of Your Subconscious Mind, emphasized that the subconscious is amendable to suggestion. But there is a secret law that many overlook, the law of reversed effort. This law states that the harder you consciously try to do something, the more your subconscious resists. If you try too hard to fall asleep, you stay awake. If you try too hard to remember a name, it escapes you. The moment you stop trying, The moment you surrender to the silence, the answer appears. This is because the subconscious operates best when the conscious mind is off duty. This is why the void is so essential. When you enter the sacred silence, you are essentially putting the noisy captain to sleep so you can talk directly to the engineers in the engine room. In the silence, there is no resistance. There is no, but I don't have enough money, or but I'm not good enough. Those are conscious analytical thoughts. In the void, those thoughts dissolve, leaving only the pure vibration of your intent. Think of your subconscious as a high-fidelity mirror. It does not argue with the image placed before it. If you stand before a mirror and scream, "I am rich," while feeling the inner pinch of poverty, the mirror doesn't see your words. It sees your face, your actual state of being. To change the reflection, you must change the state. Silence is the reset button for your internal state. It clears the fog of daily stress and allows you to project a new image with absolute clarity. The transition from noise to power happens in what neurologists call the alpha and theta brainwave states. These are the frequencies of deep relaxation and meditation. When your brainwaves slow down, the barrier between the conscious and subconscious becomes thin. This is the gateway to the void. In this state, you are no longer a person with a history, a bank account, or a set of problems. You are pure awareness. From this place of no-thingness, you can create anything. Many people ask, how can money move toward me if I'm not thinking about it? The answer lies in the nature of magnetism. A magnet does not think about the iron filings it attracts. It simply is a magnet. Its very nature creates a field that draws objects towards it. When you are in a state of frantic wanting, your magnetic field is distorted and weak. You are essentially pushing your desires away with the energy of desperation. But when you enter the sacred silence, you realign your internal magnetic poles. You stop being a seeker and start being a destination. Let us look at the practical application of this. Consider the sleep technique popularized by Murphy and Neville Goddard. Why is the moment before sleep so powerful? Because it is the natural entry point into the void. As the conscious mind drifts off, the subconscious opens wide. If you spend those final minutes worrying about your debts or your loneliness, you are giving the subconscious a blueprint for more of the same. But if you enter the silence, if you simply feel the essence of success or the warmth of being loved without needing to explain it with words, you plant a seed in the deepest, most fertile soil of your soul. To command the universe through silence is to trust the process of growth. A seed does not struggle to become a tree. It simply unfolds according to the blueprint within it. Your desires are seeds. The void is the soil. Your silence is the water. You do not need to yell at the soil to make the seed grow. You do not need to dig it up every hour to check on its progress. You must trust the silent, invisible work happening beneath the surface. As we conclude this chapter, I want you to reconsider your relationship with effort. In the world of the void, effort is a sign of lack. If you have something, you don't strive for it, you simply enjoy it. Your goal in the coming days is to find the point of no effort. Find that space in your meditation or your quiet moments where you feel so complete that you no longer feel the need to ask for anything. This is the moment when the tide turns. This is the moment when the things you once chased begin to chase you. In the next chapter, we will explore the specific vibration of the void and how to fine-tune your internal frequency to match the abundance of the universe. For now, sit in the silence of your own power. The engine is warming up. The command has been received. The void of creation. How to command the universe through the lens of vibration. To understand the power of silence, we must look at the universe through the lens of vibration. Science tells us that matter is an illusion. At the subatomic level, everything is simply energy in motion. Your bank account, your physical health, and your relationships are all frozen snapshots of your dominant vibrational frequency. If you want to change the snapshot, you must change the vibration. But most people try to change the vibration by adding more noise, more affirmations, more visual board sessions, more frantic planning. They're trying to fix a noisy engine by shouting at it. The most effective way to change your frequency is not by adding something new, but by subtracting the noise. This is the subtractive method of manifestation. When you enter the void of creation, you're essentially stripping away the lower frequencies of fear, doubt, and impatience. What remains is your natural state, the frequency of the infinite. Joseph Murphy often taught that the subconscious mind is like a photographic plate. If the plate is constantly being moved or exposed to flickering lights, the image will be blurred. Stillness is what allows the image of your desire to set with crystal clarity. When you stop asking and start being still, you are holding the photographic plate perfectly still. You are allowing the light of divine intelligence to etch the reality of abundance directly into your soul. There is a specific phenomenon in physics called sympathetic resonance. If you have two tuning forks of the same frequency and you strike one, the other will begin to vibrate even if it is across the room. The universe works exactly the same way. When you achieve the frequency of internal wealth, a state of being where you feel whole, silent, and satisfied, the external wealth that shares that frequency has no choice but to begin vibrating in your life. It is not a reward for good behavior, it is a mathematical certainty of the cosmos. However, the greatest obstacle to this resonance is mental static. Static is the constant inner monologue that critiques your progress. Is it working yet? Why haven't I seen the money? Did I do the meditation right? This static creates a vibrational mismatch. You are trying to manifest a mountain of gold while standing on a foundation of shaky, anxious energy. The void is the only place where static cannot survive. In the void, there is no past to regret and no future to fear. There is only the eternal now. To tune into the frequency of stillness, you must practice what is known as the Great Withdrawal. This is not about leaving society or living in a cave. It is a mental withdrawal from the evidence of the senses. Your senses tell you that you are broke, tired, or alone, but the sacred silence tells you that you are a localized point of an infinite field of energy that lacks nothing. To command the universe, you must believe the silence more than you believe your eyes. You must be so still that the illusion of lack loses its power over you. Imagine your life as a musical composition. Most people's lives are a cacophony of clashing notes, work stress, family drama, financial worry. When you stop and enter the sacred silence, you're essentially hitting the mute button on the discord. In that silence, you can hear the bass note of existence. This bass note is the frequency of I am. It is steady, powerful, and unwavering. When you align your breath and your heart with this bass note, you begin to broadcast a signal of absolute certainty. This is the invisible signal we discussed in Chapter 1, but now it is amplified by the power of your subconscious alignment. Money in its purest form is just a symbol of traded energy. It moves toward people who have a high capacity frequency. A person who is constantly asking and begging has a low capacity frequency. They are a closed circuit. But a person who stands in the power of the void is an open circuit. They are a vacuum that the universe rushes to fill. The nature of a vacuum is that it must be filled. By creating a mental and emotional vacuum through silence, you literally pull resources toward you. You don't have to go find the money is pulled into the void you have created by your lack of resistance. In this stage of your journey, I want you to focus on the vibration of relief. Relief is one of the closest human emotions to the frequency of the void. Think about the feeling you have when a problem is finally solved, or when a heavy debt is paid off. There is a sigh of the soul. You don't need to shout, "I am rich," during your silent practice. Instead, simply find that feeling of relief. Breathe in the silence and feel the sigh. That sigh is the frequency of the wish fulfilled. It is the sound of the universe saying yes to your command. As you go through your day, remember that you are a walking radio tower. Every time you react in anger or fear to your bank balance, you are changing the station back to Lack FM. Every time you return to the silence, even for 10 seconds, you are tuning back to Abundance Radio. The more often you return to the stillness, the more the universe recognizes you as a match for the wealth you seek. You are becoming a master of the void. You are learning that the most profound movement happens when you are perfectly still. In the next chapter, we will delve into the art of invisible visualization, how to see without eyes and hear without ears in the deep silence of the subconscious mind. They say seeing is believing, but in the realm of the void, the opposite is true. Believing is seeing. Most people fail at visualization because they try too hard to look at their desires with their physical eyes behind closed lids. They strain to see the color of the car or the numbers on the check, and in that straining, they create tension. Tension is the enemy of the subconscious. In the sacred silence, we practice invisible visualization. This is not about painting a picture. It is about capturing a feeling. It is the art of seeing without eyes and hearing without ears. When you are in the void, you don't just see your future, you inhabit it. You don't look at the wealth, you look from the wealth. This subtle shift is the difference between dreaming and commanding. If you can master the ability to see in the dark, you can bring anything you desire into the light. The universe doesn't respond to the images you show it. It responds to the reality you accept as true in the depth of your silence. Chapter 4: Invisible Visualization. Visualization is often misunderstood as a mental movie-making process. People sit down, close their eyes, and try to force a mental image of a luxury home or a specific sum of money. But because they are trying, they are operating from the conscious mind. As we established in the previous chapters, the conscious mind is the realm of effort, and effort creates resistance. The more you try to see something that isn't there, the more your brain reminds you of its absence. This is why many people feel frustrated or cynical after visualization exercises. They have inadvertently reinforced the feeling of not having. Invisible visualization, performed within the void of creation, bypasses this trap. In the state of sacred silence, you don't need to force an image. Instead, you evoke an atmosphere. Think of it this way. If you were to walk into a dark room in your own home, you wouldn't need to see the furniture to know it's there. You can feel the presence of the bed, the desk, and the walls. You have a sense of knowing. This knowing is the highest form of visualization. It is a subconscious acceptance of a reality before it manifests in the physical world. Joseph Murphy frequently emphasized that the subconscious mind accepts what you feel to be true. To use invisible visualization, you must first enter the deep stillness we practiced in Chapter 3. Once you are in that 0-point state, where the world of the senses has faded away, you don't visualize the object of your desire as something far away. Instead, you drape the feeling of having it over your soul like a garment. If your goal is financial abundance, do not struggle to see a specific dollar amount. Instead, sit in the silence and feel the security that money provides. Feel the weightlessness in your chest that comes from knowing every bill is paid. Feel the I can energy that replaces the I can't energy. This is invisible because there is no shape to it, yet it is more real than any mental picture. You are vibrating at the frequency of the result. When the subconscious receives this wordless, shapeless command of fulfillment, it immediately begins the process of rearranging your external world to match that internal state. The great secret of the masters is looking from, not looking at. If you visualize yourself standing on a stage, you are looking at yourself. You are a spectator. But if you visualize the heat of the stage lights on your skin and the blurred faces of the audience from the perspective of your own eyes, you are looking from the success. You are inhabiting the state. In the void, you have the power to collapse time. You aren't going to be successful. In the silence, you are successful. There is no future in the subconscious mind. There is only a perpetual now.
This technique requires a radical trust in the invisible. Most people are sensory bound. They only believe what their five senses tell them, but the void is where you write the future. When you sit in silence and claim a new reality invisibly, you are acting as the architect of your fate. Consider the mental atmosphere of a wealthy person. They don't walk around constantly visualizing money, they simply have an underlying assumption of supply. They expect things to work out. They have a silent assumption. This is what we are aiming for in the void. We are building a mental atmosphere where abundance is the default setting. To practice this, try the touch of the void exercise. During your silent meditation, choose one thing you desire. Instead of seeing it, try to touch it with your mind. If it's a new home, feel the texture of the door handle. If it's a new career, feel the firm grip of a congratulatory handshake. Don't look at the hand. Feel the pressure, the warmth, and the emotion of the moment. By focusing on a single sensory detail in the midst of total silence, you bypass the analytical mind's tendency to doubt. You are providing the subconscious with a fact of experience. The universe is a giant mirror of your internal knowing. When you stop asking for things and start knowing them into existence through the power of the void, you move from the role of a beggar to the role of a creator. You are no longer shouting into a void, hoping something hears you. You are the void itself, and you are choosing what ripples to create within your own infinite depths. As you move through your day, keep your inner eye turned toward the silence. When you encounter a situation that looks like lack or failure, do not react to it. Instead, take a quiet pause. Return to that invisible feeling of your wish fulfilled. Remind yourself, what I see with my eyes is the past. What I feel in the silence is my future. By mastering invisible visualization, you are training your subconscious to ignore the noise of temporary circumstances. You are teaching it to prioritize the silent commands you issue from the center of your being. In the next chapter, we will discuss the law of non-resistance, the secret to ensuring that your commands are never blocked by your own ego. For now, stay in the silence. The image is setting. The reality is forming. You don't need to see it to know it is already yours.
The void of creation, how to command the universe through. The ego is a creature of friction. It thrives on me versus the world. It believes that if it doesn't fight, it will lose. If it doesn't shout, it won't be heard. But in the realm of the subconscious, resistance is a signal of lack. When you resist your current reality, when you hate your job, resent your bills, or fear your future, you are focusing intensely on exactly what you don't want. And as Joseph Murphy famously taught, whatever you give your attention to, the subconscious mind amplifies. Non-resistance is the art of letting be so that letting go can happen. When you enter the void, you are practicing the ultimate form of non-resistance. You are stepping out of the boxing ring. You are acknowledging that the struggle itself is what is keeping the money and the success away. Think of it this way. Money is a form of energy, and energy flows where there is the least resistance. If you are filled with mental tension and emotional tightness, you are a closed pipe. No matter how much abundance the universe tries to pour into you, it cannot get through the blockage of your own resistance. In the Bible, there is a profound command: resist not evil. From a metaphysical perspective, evil is simply any condition that is not in harmony with your highest good: poverty, sickness, or discord. When you resist poverty by worrying about it or fighting it with an anxious mind, you are actually feeding it your energy. You are making it real in your subconscious. However, when you practice non-resistance through sacred silence, you withdraw the fuel from the fire. By being still and turning your attention away from the problem and toward the void of all possibility, the problem begins to wither away for lack of attention. This is the secret of mental yielding. When a negative thought enters your mind, a thought of "I can't afford this" or "this will never work," most people try to fight it with a positive thought. This creates a mental war, and the subconscious mind is caught in the crossfire. Instead of fighting the negative thought, yield to the silence. Don't argue with the fear. Don't try to prove it wrong. Simply step back into the void. In the silence, the negative thought has no power. It is like a cloud passing through a vast sky. It doesn't hurt the sky, and eventually it disappears. One of the most powerful ways to apply non-resistance is through the act of blessing. Joseph Murphy often suggested that if you are envious of someone else's wealth, you are creating a vibrational resistance to wealth in your own life. Envy is a declaration that you don't have enough. To dissolve this, you must bless what you want to attract. When you see someone succeeding, enter your sacred silence and silently say, "I am happy for your success. I wish for you even more." In doing so, you are telling your subconscious that success is a good thing, a natural thing, and something you are in harmony with. You have removed the resistance of envy, opening the gates for that same success to flow toward you. The ego wants to control the how and the when of manifestation. It demands to know exactly how the money will arrive and when the opportunity will knock. This demand for certainty is a form of resistance. It is a lack of trust in the infinite intelligence. When you command the universe through the void, your only job is to provide the what, the feeling of the wish fulfilled. The how belongs to the universe. When you stop trying to micromanage the cosmos, you remove the pressure that often kills a manifestation before it can breathe. Think of a professional athlete or a master musician. When they are in the zone, they are in a state of non-resistance. They aren't thinking about their movements, they're letting the music or the game play through them. They have yielded their conscious ego to their subconscious training. This is how you must live your life. You are the instrument, the divine is the player. In the sacred silence, you tune your strings and then you yield. You stop trying to force the melody of your life, and you let the infinite power play a masterpiece through you. A practical exercise for this is the "I am not the body, I am not the mind" meditation. Sit in the void and realize that your fears belong to your mind, and your tensions belong to your body, but you are the silent observer of both. When you identify as the observer rather than the struggler, your resistance dissolves instantly. You become a hollow bamboo through which the wind of the spirit can blow. As you practice the law of non-resistance, you will notice a strange thing happening. Obstacles that seem like mountains will turn into molehills. People who were difficult will become cooperative. Opportunities that were blocked will suddenly open. This isn't because the world changed, it's because you changed. You stopped pushing the door and started letting it swing open. When you stop asking, when you stop fighting, and when you stop resisting, you become an irresistible force. The universe loves a person who is at peace. In the next chapter, we will discuss the law of assumption, how to claim your kingdom in the silence, and live from the end until the shadows of lack vanish forever. The void of creation, how to command the universe through the law of assumption. Popularized by the mystic Neville Goddard and echoed in the teachings of Joseph Murphy, is the most direct path to transformation. It states that your internal assumption, the things you believe to be true about yourself and the world, is the sole cause of your external reality. Most people are reactors. They see a low bank balance and assume poverty. They see a cold response and assume they are unloved. But the commander of the void is an actor. They assume the reality they desire first, and they wait for the world to catch up. When you enter the sacred silence, you are entering a space where the rules of time and space are suspended. In the void, you can be anything. If you want to be financially free, you do not go into the silence to ask for money. Instead, you enter the silence and you assume the identity of a person who is already wealthy. You don't think about wealth, you think from wealth. You ask yourself, how would I breathe right now if I had millions in the bank? How would my shoulders sit? What would be the quality of my inner peace? This is why silence is so critical to assumption. If you try to assume wealth while looking at your bills, your conscious mind will call you a liar. But in the void, the bills don't exist. The past doesn't exist. Only your consciousness exists. When you assume a state in the silence, you are not faking it until you make it. You are performing a spiritual act of appropriation. You are claiming a version of yourself that already exists in the realm of infinite potential. Joseph Murphy taught that the subconscious mind is impersonal. It doesn't know if your assumption is true or false by the standards of the world. It only knows that you are feeling it to be true now. If you persistently assume the feeling of success in your quiet moments, the subconscious accepts this as a fact. It then goes to work through the bridge of incidents to bring that assumption into your physical experience. You might find yourself having a sudden hunch to call someone, or you might accidentally stumble upon a new opportunity. These are not accidents. They are the result of a fixed internal assumption working its way into the light. The mistake most people make is that they try to assume, and then they look for results. The moment you look for results, you are checking to see if it worked, which means you no longer assume it is true. To assume means to be finished with the matter. It is a state of mental rest. When you walk out of your meditation, you must carry that silent assumption with you. If a thought of lack arises, you don't fight it. You simply remind yourself of your silent command. That is the old shadow. My reality is what I claimed in the void. Think of a playwright. A playwright doesn't hope the play ends well. They write the ending themselves. When they are writing the final scene, the play is finished in their mind, even if the actors haven't even started rehearsals yet. You are the playwright of your life. In the sacred silence, you are writing the final scene of your financial and personal success. Once it is written in the ink of your subconscious feeling, the performance in the physical world is inevitable. Assumption is the ultimate silent signal. It is a steady, unwavering broadcast. If your signal is, I am wealthy for 5 minutes of meditation, and I am broke for the other 23 hours of the day, the I am broke signal wins. This is why the practice of the quiet pause is so vital. Throughout the day, return to the silence for just 3 seconds. Re-anchor your assumption. Take one deep breath and feel the I am of your desired state. This keeps the signal clear and prevents the static of the world from drowning out your command. In this chapter, I want to introduce the assumption of the end. Don't focus on the middle steps. Don't worry about the promotion, the loan, or the sale. Go straight to the end. See yourself at the finish line. Feel the relief. Feel the thank you in your heart. When you stay at the end, the universe is forced to provide the means to get you there. As Murphy said, the end justifies the means. The subconscious is a master architect. It knows thousands of ways to bring your desire to pass that your conscious mind could never imagine. As you practice this, you will notice a change in your self-talk. Your inner dialogue will begin to mirror your new assumption. Instead of saying, I hope this happens, you will find yourself saying, I am so grateful this is done. This shift in your internal noise is the proof that your silence is working. You are no longer a person who is asking, you are a person who has already received. In the next chapter, we will discuss the power of the spoken word, how to break your silence only when your words are in perfect alignment with your internal commands. For now, go back into the void, claim your kingdom, assume the crown, and then walk through your day as if it were impossible to fail. The void of creation, how to command the universe through. We have spent our journey honoring the silence, for the silence is the womb of creation. But there comes a moment when the silence must be broken. Most people use their words like scattergun fire, spraying complaints, doubts, and idle gossip into the atmosphere, wondering why their lives feel like a chaotic battlefield. They don't realize that every word spoken is a vibration that either builds a bridge to their desires or a wall against them. In this chapter, we explore the aligned word. We learn that after you have commanded the universe through the void, your speech must become the amen to your silent prayer. When you break your silence, your words should not be a plea for help, but a decree of fact. If the void is the engine, the word is the steering wheel. We will learn how to speak with the authority of someone who knows the check is already in the mail, the health is already restored, and the doors are already open. Your words have the power to crystallize the invisible into the visible, but only if they are born from the sacred silence. In many ancient traditions, it is said that in the beginning was the Word. However, before the Word, there was the silence. The word is the first physical manifestation of the invisible spirit. Joseph Murphy taught that your subconscious mind is constantly eavesdropping on your conversations, not just the ones you have with others, but the ones you have with yourself. If you spend 20 minutes in the void assuming wealth, but spend the rest of the day telling your friends how expensive everything is or how broke you are canceling your order with the universe. The aligned word is the practice of ensuring that your external speech never contradicts your internal command. Once you have entered the void and assumed your new reality, your words must become a seal of authority. This does not mean you have to lie to people about your current circumstances. It means you must speak of your circumstances from a place of power rather than a place of victimhood. Instead of saying, "I don't have the money," you might say, "I am currently directing my resources elsewhere." One is a statement of lack. The other is a statement of management and control. Think of your words as seeds. If you plant a seed of abundance in the subconscious through silence, but then pour the acid of complaining over the soil with your tongue, the seed will die. This is why many spiritual masters practice periods of total silence. It wasn't just to be quiet, it was to starve the ego of the noise of complaining. When you stop complaining, you stop the leak of your creative energy. Joseph Murphy emphasized that the word "I am" is the most powerful creative phrase in any language. Whatever you attach to "I am," you are inviting into your life. When you say, "I am tired," "I am poor," or "I am unlucky," you are issuing a decree that the subconscious mind must fulfill. In the aligned word practice, you become the gatekeeper of your "I ams." You use the silence as a filter. Before you speak, you ask yourself, does this sentence align with the person I claim to be in the void? If the answer is no, stay silent. Silence is always more powerful than a word that reinforces lack. The aligned word also applies to how you speak about others. Murphy often warned that what you wish for another, you wish for yourself. Because the subconscious mind is impersonal and universal, it does not distinguish between you and him. If you use your words to criticize someone's success or gossip about their failures, your subconscious mind hears those words as a blueprint for your life. It assumes you are interested in failure and criticism, and it brings more of those frequencies into your experience. To command the universe through silence, you must speak words of blessing, even in the face of opposition. There is a technique called the scripting of the word. Since the subconscious mind accepts what it hears repeatedly, you can use the period immediately following your silent meditation to speak your desires into the room. But, and this is the key, you must speak them as if they are already accomplished facts. Instead of saying, "I will be successful," you say, "Success is flowing into my life in a grand way." Use words that carry the vibration of movement and arrival. Words like expanding, unfolding, multiplying, and manifesting are high-frequency words that keep the subconscious in a state of active creation. Another aspect of the aligned word is the silent decree. Sometimes the most powerful word is the one you don't say to the world, but whisper to the universe. When you encounter a challenge, instead of reacting with a flurry of worried words, take a breath, return to the void, and silently decree, "This too is working for my good." By refusing to give the problem a name or a voice through complaining, you rob it of its power to manifest further. You are keeping the silent signal pure. Your speech should be like a king's decree. A king does not hope his orders are carried out. He speaks them and considers the matter settled. When you speak about your future, speak with that same level of settledness. Avoid using wishing words like "I hope," "I wish," or "maybe." Replace them with claiming words, "I know," "I accept," "I am grateful for." Remember, the universe is always listening, not just to your prayers, but to your casual remarks, your jokes, and your inner whispers. The sacred silence gives you the discipline to choose your words wisely. It teaches you that words are precious. If a word doesn't increase the beauty, wealth, or peace of your life, it is better left unsaid. As you go through your day, practice the vocal fast. Try to go an hour without saying anything negative about yourself, your finances, or the world. If you slip,
return to the silence and reset. You are training your tongue to be an instrument of your subconscious will. In the next chapter, we will discuss the law of circulation, how to move through the world with the silence of abundance, knowing that the more you allow to flow through you, the more the universe pours into you. For now, let your words be few and let them be powerful.
The void of creation, how to command the universe through. The law of circulation is the principle that all things in the universe are in a state of motion. Energy, money, and even thoughts must circulate to remain healthy and vibrant. Joseph Murphy often compared the flow of wealth to the circulation of blood in the body. If the blood stops moving, the body dies. If you stop the flow of money or energy in your life because of fear, your financial body begins to atrophy. In the sacred silence, we find the courage to let go. Fear is a noisy emotion. It tells you to hold on tight, save for a rainy day, and don't trust the future. But the void is a place of absolute trust. In the silence, you recognize that you are connected to an infinite supply. You don't need to hoard the water when you are sitting in the middle of the ocean. When you operate from the void, you move from a scarcity mindset to a circulation mindset. Circulation is not just about giving money to charity, it is about the spirit in which you interact with the world. Many people pay their bills with a sense of resentment or loss. They see the money leaving their account and they feel a pinch in their chest. This feeling is a command to the subconscious that says, "I don't have enough and it's hard to get more." Murphy suggested a different approach. As you pay a bill or spend money, enter a brief moment of silence and mentally bless the person or company receiving it. Say to yourself, "This money is circulating to bless others, and it returns to me multiplied 1,000-fold." By doing this, you turn a moment of loss into a moment of command. You are signaling to the universe that you are a source, not a drain. The law of circulation also applies to your internal world. If you have a great idea but you keep it to yourself because you're afraid someone will steal it, you are blocking the flow. If you feel love for someone but you stay silent because of pride, you are blocking the flow. In the void, you realize that the source of all ideas and all love is infinite. You can never run out of creativity or affection. By giving away your best thoughts and your highest vibrations, you make room for even greater inspirations to enter. There is a profound metaphysical secret called the vacuum law of prosperity. Nature abhors a vacuum. If you want a new coat, give away your old one. If you want new opportunities, clear out the clutter of old stagnant habits. By creating a void in the physical world through giving or letting go, you act as a magnet for the new. But this only works if the giving is done in the sacred silence, meaning without the noise of seeking recognition or the fear of loss. If you give while secretly worrying about how you will pay your own bills, you are sending a mixed signal. The silence ensures your intention is pure. I give because I am a channel of the infinite. Wealthy people often understand this law instinctively. They invest, they move capital, and they keep their resources in play. They don't let their money sit dead under a mattress. They treat money as a currency, a word derived from the Latin currens, meaning to run or to flow. To command the universe through the void, you must become a current person. You must be willing to let the energy of life run through you without trying to dam the river. Practicing the law of circulation in silence means practicing invisible generosity. Can you bless the success of your competitor in the silence of your mind? Can you walk through a wealthy neighborhood and instead of feeling envy, feel a sense of joy that such abundance exists? When you celebrate the circulation of wealth in someone else's life, you are telling your subconscious that you are in harmony with wealth. You are essentially telling the universe, I like that frequency, bring more of it into my field. The silence of the void is the perfect place to release the fear of the bottom. Many people are afraid that if they spend or give, they will eventually hit zero. But in the void, there is no bottom. There is only an infinite depth. When you stop asking for security and start circulating with confidence, you discover that the universe is your ultimate safety net. Consider your breath. You don't hold your breath for fear of running out of air. You exhale fully, trusting that the next inhale is inevitable. Your financial and emotional life should be exactly the same. Exhale your resources, your time, and your kindness into the world. Do it silently, without fanfare. Trust that the inhale of the universe, the return flow, is a law as certain as gravity. As you move through this week, look for ways to practice silent circulation. Give a small kip with a silent blessing. Give a compliment to a stranger without waiting for a thank you. Release an old resentment in the silence of your heart. Watch how the universe begins to rush towards you to fill the spaces you have cleared. You are no longer a closed pond, you are a mighty river. In the next chapter, we will discuss the law of persistence, how to maintain your silent command even when the world seems to be shouting no. For now, keep the energy moving, let it flow, and watch how it grows. The void of creation, how to command the universe through. The law of circulation is the principle that all things in the universe are in a state of motion. Energy, money, and even thoughts must circulate to remain healthy and vibrant. Joseph Murphy often compared the flow of wealth to the circulation of blood in the body. If the blood stops moving, the body dies. If you stop the flow of money or energy in your life because of fear, your financial body begins to atrophy. In the sacred silence, we find the courage to let go. Fear is a noisy emotion. It tells you to hold on tight, save for a rainy day, and don't trust the future. But the void is a place of absolute trust. In the silence, you recognize that you are connected to an infinite supply. You don't need to hoard the water when you are sitting in the middle of the ocean. When you operate from the void, you move from a scarcity mindset to a circulation mindset. Circulation is not just about giving money to charity, it is about the spirit in which you interact with the world. Many people pay their bills with a sense of resentment or loss. They see the money leaving their account and they feel a pinch in their chest. This feeling is a command to the subconscious that says, I don't have enough, and it's hard to get more. Murphy suggested a different approach. As you pay a bill or spend money, enter a brief moment of silence and mentally bless the person or company receiving it. Say to yourself, this money is circulating to bless others, and it returns to me multiplied 1,000-fold. By doing this, you turn a moment of loss into a moment of command. You are signaling to the universe that you are a source, not a drain. The law of circulation also applies to your internal world. If you have a great idea, but you keep it to yourself because you're afraid someone will steal it, you are blocking the flow. If you feel love for someone, but you stay silent because of pride, you are blocking the flow. In the void, you realize that the source of all ideas and all love is infinite. You can never run out of creativity or affection. By giving away your best thoughts and your highest vibrations, you make room for even greater inspirations to enter. There is a profound metaphysical secret called the vacuum law of prosperity. Nature abhors a vacuum. If you want a new coat, give away your old one. If you want new opportunities, clear out the clutter of old stagnant habits. By creating a void in the physical world through giving or letting go, you act as a magnet for the new. But this only works if the giving is done in the sacred silence, meaning without the noise of seeking recognition or the fear of loss. If you give while secretly worrying about how you will pay your own bills, you're sending a mixed signal. The silence ensures your intention is pure. I give because I am a channel of the infinite. Wealthy people often understand this law instinctively. They invest, they move capital, and they keep their resources in play. They don't let their money sit dead under a mattress. They treat money as a currency, a word derived from the Latin currens, meaning to run or to flow. To command the universe through the void, you must become a current person. You must be willing to let the energy of life run through you without trying to dam the river. Practicing the law of circulation in silence means practicing invisible generosity. Can you bless the success of your competitor in the silence of your mind? Can you walk through a wealthy neighborhood and instead of feeling envy, feel a sense of joy that such abundance exists? When you celebrate the circulation of wealth in someone else's life, you are telling your subconscious that you are in harmony with wealth. You are essentially telling the universe, I like that frequency, bring more of it into my field. The silence of the void is the perfect place to release the fear of the bottom. Many people are afraid that if they spend or give, they will eventually hit zero. But in the void, there is no bottom. There is only an infinite depth. When you stop asking for security and start circulating with confidence, you discover that the universe is your ultimate safety net. Consider your breath. You don't hold your breath for fear of running out of air. You exhale fully, trusting that the next inhale is inevitable. Your financial and emotional life should be exactly the same. Exhale your resources, your time, and your kindness into the world. Do it silently, without fanfare. Trust that the inhale of the universe, the return flow, is a law as certain as gravity. As you move through this week, look for ways to practice silent circulation. Give a small tip with a silent blessing. Give a compliment to a stranger without waiting for a thank you. Release an old resentment in the silence of your heart. Watch how the universe begins to rush towards you to fill the spaces you have cleared. You are no longer a closed pond, you are a mighty river. In the next chapter, we will discuss the law of persistence, how to maintain your silent command even when the world seems to be shouting no. For now, keep the energy moving, let it flow, and watch how it grows. We have reached the culmination of our journey. If you have listened closely, you now understand that your external world is nothing more than a delayed reflection of your internal silence. The money, the opportunities, and the relationships you seek are not out there to be hunted. They are vibrations to be matched. Joseph Murphy's core principle was simple. As you sow in your subconscious mind, so shall you reap in your body and environment. By using the void of creation, you have learned to sow in the most fertile soil existence has to offer. To ensure that your command remains sovereign, you must implement the daily silence protocol. This is not a chore, but a homecoming. Step 1. The morning seal. The first 5 minutes after you wake up are the most critical. Your brain is naturally in the alpha state, the gateway to the subconscious. Do not reach for your phone. Do not check the news. Do not let the noise of the world dictate your frequency. Instead, lie still. Enter the void. In this silence, do not ask for a good day. Simply assume the feeling of a successful day. Feel the relief of every task being completed with ease. Feel the sensation of being a money magnet. This 5-minute seal sets the silent signal for the next 16 hours. Step 2. The 3-second command. Throughout your day, the world will attempt to draw you back into the noise of lack. You will see a bill, hear a complaint, or feel a surge of impatience. When this happens, do not fight the world. Use the 3-second command. Stop, take one breath, return to the void. In that 3-second silence, mentally state, "It is done." This acts as a vibrational course correction. It prevents the static of daily life from becoming a dominant frequency. You are reminding the universe and your subconscious who is in charge. Step 3. The law of assumption in action. Practice walking the throne. Throughout your day, act from the assumption that your desire is already a physical reality. This doesn't mean spending money you don't have. It means having the mental attitude of someone who has more than enough. A wealthy person doesn't worry about the price of a coffee. They don't walk with slumped shoulders. They don't gossip about lack. By adopting the posture and the internal peace of your wish fulfilled, you bridge the gap between the invisible and the visible. You are telling the subconscious, "This is my reality. Reflect it." Step 4. The evening harvest. Just as the morning is for sowing, the night is for harvesting. As you lie in bed, use the Neville Goddard revision technique combined with Murphy's quietude. Review your day. If anything happened that was out of alignment with your desires, a lost sale, a heated argument, a moment of fear, reimagine it in the silence of your mind. See it happening exactly the way you wanted it to. By doing this, you edit the subconscious recording. You fall asleep in the frequency of the void, ensuring that your subconscious works on the corrected version of your life while you sleep. The most important takeaway of this entire audiobook is the transition from seeking to being. As long as you are seeking money, you are announcing that it is separate from you. In the sacred silence, there is no separation. You and the abundance of the universe are one and the same. When you stop asking, you stop the energy of wanting. And when you stop wanting, you allow the energy of having to take over. You must trust the bridge of incidents. Sometimes, after you issue a command in the silence, things may appear to go wrong. A door might close, or a source of income might dry up. The ego will scream, "It's not working." But the sovereign commander knows better. Often, the universe must clear away the old to make room for the new. The bridge of incidents is the series of events, often unpredictable, that leads to your manifestation. Stay in the silence. Do not react to the shadows. If you stay fixed in your assumption, the universe must deliver. Remember, the void is not a place you visit. It is a state you carry. You are the architect of the silence. You are the commander of the vibration. The money you desire is already vibrating in the dark, waiting for you to claim it with your silence. Go forth now. Speak less, but say more. Hustle less, but achieve more. Ask less, but have everything. The void is open, the command is issued, the universe is in motion. It is done, and so it is.